Good morning. The wine industry in San Luis Obispo County is very formidable. We're all into it, or a lot of us are into it. And when you go to any sort of a retail shop or when you read about it, you see numbers. And I want to talk a little bit about where those numbers come from. I have been in the PR and marketing side of the wine world for quite a while. I'm a native San Luis Obispan. But I work with wineries all over the world and wine regions. And I'm very proud now that I'm back in town that I do work with the Slow Coast Wine AVA and the local producers. So where do these numbers come from? We see them around. I used to think that, you'd look and you'd see people, you'd think of a critic sitting there peering into each glass and thoughtfully coming up with wine descriptors and numbers. Or maybe it's a tasting panel of 3 or 4 people talking about everything. And so that they, arrive at the perfect number and the perfect tasting notes. It is not that sort of situation. I'm lucky to be the chief sommelier at Hospice de Rhone, and every year we put on a tasting. Started out with Robert Parker, went to Antonio Galloni, and now with Jeb Dunnick, where Vicki Carroll, who is the chairman of the group, she puts together all the wines. I'm one of the sommeliers who comes out there. So we set up at a hotel up in Paso Robles lately, in a boardroom, kind of clinical. We slam the air conditioner down so the wines will show their best and set everything up. And then a group of 2 or 3 of us will start to taste through the wines to make sure there's no overt flaws, that the wines taste the way that the winemaker intended them to do. Then about 9 o'clock, the critic walks in, we say hello, they will sit down and they start to taste. They may spend a minute, 2 minutes of wine, some wines, 20 seconds, stick it up to the nose and go, nope, not going to put this in my mouth. And so they write their notes, they assign a score. They've done this for so long that when they taste, they're really good at this. They know what the notes are. They can figure out their tasting descriptors, and the score pops into their head. And later on, later that day or down the road, they'll write up the notes for publication. It'll come out a couple months later, and everybody, winemakers' fortunes will be made or lost on what that number is, fair or otherwise. But it is a glimpse of that one moment of when they tasted it. Couple guys do, they'll come back to it. Sometimes they will go when they're in the area, they'll go and visit the wineries, hang out with the winemakers, get a little more of the story. But those tend to be the wineries that they've dealt with in the past. Now, the system, it works because it has worked for a long time. It started in England back in the 60s and 70s. You had a 9-point scale. Some people worked with a 5-point scale. Then UC Davis came up with a 20-point scale, and that was the standard until Robert Parker came along, and it was his brilliant idea, let's do it like we all grew up in school with the 100-point scale. And that revolutionized the industry, and it really resonated with consumers. And it used to be you'd get an 82, 83-point score. That was pretty good. Had I gotten scores like that in college, boy, I'd be running a company or something now. I was a pretty good 87-point guy, 88-point. And those are the wines that are under 90 tend to be wines that work well with food and just for drinking on a Tuesday night and part of everyday life. Because as critics began to have more power and sales correlated to high scores, the wine changed to meet what the critics' expectations were. And the critics liked wines that were pushing the envelope. And they also seem to favor wines from warmer climates. If you taste wines from Paso Robles, you'll see higher ripeness levels, different grape varieties. Wines from the Slow Coast, much cooler, 20, 30, 40 degrees on some days, difference in that, and different grape varieties. So with more ripeness, you get more sugar, which translates to more alcohol. You have more alcohol, you get buzzed faster, but you can't drink as much, and it doesn't necessarily work with food. So you have to sort of put into context what those numbers mean. You also have a problem or a situation. It's not necessarily a problem. As I'm getting older, it's not as much of a problem. But as you get older, your palate changes. You tend to like less tannin. You like more fruit. You like smoothness. And so if you look at the age of the critics you're following, sometimes their scores are going to, and the types of wines they prefer will change. Now, with those big wines and the higher scores, they get harder to get. So these are the allocated mailing lists you need to get onto and wait for somebody to die before you're given a bottle or two. And but those are trophy wines, and that also enters into the secondary collectible market and resale market. Because there are wines where you know, if you're on the list, you can buy them for $100 a bottle and turn around and flip them a couple of weeks later for $400 a bottle. So scores enter into that. But a lot of this is sort of the tail wagging the dog, because wine should be something that you drink on a regular basis. It's part of your regular life, and you don't have to mortgage your kids' future to be able to drink well. So to my way of thinking, and I've been, you know, I've been involved in retail for about 40 years, and there is nothing that will replace knowing your retailer, knowing that person at the wine bar who's passionate about what they're drinking, what they're liking, what you should be drinking, because they can take you on this trip and turn you on to the things. And they can do it in the context of scores. If you say, I only want to drink 95 points or above, they'll steer you to the wines that are the 95-point wines that you're going to appreciate, and it will best work with your lifestyle. We're very lucky here in San Luis with all of the industry and the people here, and it's pretty cool situation. So thank you very much.